r/AskReddit. People who like Andrew Tate, why?
When I first learned about him, I found his arguments agreeable, paraphrased. Women aren't traditional anymore but want traditional guys. Guys are disposable mostly, unless they provide something. Etc. just off the top of my head. It made sense to me since I've had bad breakups, and my most recent one got me good, so I was sensitive to that kind of argument. Every guy has, which I think is why he was appealing to so many guys, with those kinds of arguments. Then he started getting whack with stuff like women are meant to be controlled, etc. Very quickly I thought he was an idiot who said just enough to keep a coherent voice. But still, he was an idiot. So initially, I liked him and thought he was making some useful arguments, but very quickly, I realized he was pretty much a textbook incel. Edit, I remember I thought, he clearly has a shit ton of money, I guess his course thing is selling well, then? And therefore a lot of people actually listen to this guy, so either tons of people are wrong or this guy knows what he's talking about. Fortunately, I didn't fully buy into his speech. I remember thinking, well, the real masculine thing is to figure shit out myself or talk to my dad about it for some advice. It's interesting to me that the answer to that question was, of course, crime. It wasn't that there's tons of people who agree with him and bought his course thing, therefore validating his arguments, he was a human trafficker. It's nice to see a jackass get what's coming to them, for once.
Pretty much the same for me. I saw a bunch of his stuff and there was some decent messages about self-worth and not relying on other people for your own self-love, but there were also warning signs, so I made sure to take all his advice with a grain of salt and distanced myself immediately when he started to go off the deep end.
I'm very happy that I knew Andrew Tate as the dude who posted massive Twitter rants about how he attributed his success to not watching Star Wars or pulling up to Orthodox monasteries in his limbo to seek wisdom first lol. It seems like a lot of guys just enjoyed an interesting and confident dude talking about money and success.
90% of these comments gonna be from people who don't like or aren't followers of Andrew Tate. Edit, 99.99%. Edit, 99.999999999999999999%.
This is when you sort by controversial and read the ones with the most down votes. I wonder how many of those folks know there's a video of him making the rounds online right now where he beats the shit out of a Slovakian girl for failing to repeat what he says verbatim. Before anyone asks, no. I will not link it.
Why not? I have mostly the same beliefs and view on the world as him. Besides all the cut up out of context misogynistic crap, he really explains the world as what it is. People at the top feeding information to people middle and below to keep you contained and keep being slaves in a 9-to-5 for them. The exact life I have longed to escape, even before Tate became known. He tells you to be accountable for your own actions, take control of your own life, and if you want something, go fucking get it. I don't understand how so many people find this line of thinking to be so horrible for so many people around the world, when for me that has been the only way to think that has improved my life. I could either go about life believing depression is a thing that no matter what I do I will always feel like shit and nothing will change that, or I can believe that I can be responsible for how I feel and take steps towards changing what is wrong with my life. I understand he has said some things that I don't agree with, and he most certainly isn't perfect as none of us are, but he preaches some very good and true life values.
Because he is promoting the right, which is solely designed to give more of poor people's money to rich people. The right will empower anyone, Andrew Tate, that helps the rich people get the other 30% of the vote to be competitive on a ticket. Poor people being convinced that they should vote right is precisely the game for the right. If you are concerned with anything other than what the right and left mean to money/inequality, you are getting played.
I don't really agree with you, but you're the only person I've seen comment that actually says they like the guy, so your comment should be upvoted. That being said, I think most people agree with the rhetoric of the elites are feeding those below them information to keep you in line and maintain their power, and to go work hard and be disciplined for your goals. The problem is when he's not saying that, He's saying blatantly sexist things, taken in any context, picking Twitter fights with teenage girls, saying it's okay for men to cheat on their partners, and other edgy things. Some might say it's a character, and it might very well be one. But when you show the world you say sexist things and claim to believe them, you don't get to be surprised when people take your own words as your character.
I like him because he lets me know I'm on the right path as far as the way I live my life, the way I am raising my children. It's pretty simple. If the way I'm doing things is the exact opposite of what he preaches, I know I'm doing it right.
Scared me in the first half there.
The second half did make me smile.
Because there is a large chunk of men, and a minority of women, that feel left out and ignored by the rest of society, so they start by dipping their toes in these ideas until they fall further down the rabbit hole. Others are people that hold on to traditionalist values and don't want the world to progress the way it does, hence it becomes a community for them as well. And a few are just contrarian thinkers and are drawn to anything that seems edgy and unpopular, for the sake of it being edgy and unpopular. Edit. I just want to add there is a strange line of thinking I'm seeing in these comments where some people, I'm guessing white knights, are insisting on blaming his success on white men specifically, which is strange considering these communities are attractive to people of all races. Way to show you have no non-white friends. I know the people of color here can vouch for me on this one.
They're not left out. They believe they've been left out.
I mean, you're kind of proving OP's point. He's saying that some young men have been excluded from society, due to both personal and societal factors, bullied, mental health issues, poor self-esteem, potentially unlikable traits, poor looks, and possibly poor hygiene. Are these all issues that these young men could improve on? Absolutely. And that's exactly what they think they're doing by listening to people like Andrew Tate. OP is literally telling you, hey, people are struggling, and your response is, they're choosing to struggle. Your attitude is no different than when someone says, I'm depressed, and you respond with, just be happier. Your attitude is what pushes these young impressionable men who are suffering further down that alt-right rabbit hole.
I like his message about having to work on yourself in order to reach your goals. His message at first was just how masculinity isn't a bad trait and you shouldn't be ashamed to want it. I like how he promotes martial arts and fitness, and when he allegedly got cancelled by social media, that made many people question why his thoughts in particular were deemed so controversial to warrant a ban, which for the most part were just old macho man views that most old folks would share. He is also not afraid to talk about the tricks that rich people like him use in order to not pay taxes and keep getting richer, which is a breath of fresh air and informative. Having said that, he also preyed on lonely young men and literal kids who aspired to be like him by making them subscribe to his site BS, which was supposed to make them rich but is actually a pyramid scheme. They are encouraged to spam videos of him everywhere and they are very vocal on YouTube comment section. It's a very scammy business model and many people fall for it. Also, his views on women are sexist and his view on men that don't aspire to be rich and famous is very idiotic as well. Basically, in his mind, you either aspire to be like him or you are a lesser man. He got rich by exploiting these young men and before that by running a promotion agency for women who do chem-sex work, taking a cut from their profit, which isn't that bad, is basically what most OnlyFans creators do nowadays, get an agency to help them promote their content for a cut of the profits, but this is not something most honest men would be willing to do to achieve financial success. Looking forward to see what comes out of these allegations. I hope they get him for a long time and he disappears for a while and some other content creator who shares his views on masculinity and fitness comes along without the additional baggage of being an idiot with too much money for his own good, sexist and a scammer. TLDR, some of his points aren't bad, the person that voiced them is.
Wow, you made it till the end. Like and subscribe and you could win 1,000 Bitcoin.